Welcome to this week's Movie Math, giving you an in-depth analysis of the box office for the weekend of July 20th, one that was marred by a horrible tragedy early Friday morning when a gunman proclaiming to be the Joker opened fire on the audience at a midnight screening of the highly anticipated The Dark Knight Rises. 12 people were killed, including a 6-year-old girl, and over 50 were injured, some seriously. And while many fans have pleaded with the media and the public to not let this madman ruin Christopher Nolan's trilogy, there is no doubt that not only this Batman trilogy, but Hollywood in general will never be the same. In fact, out of respect to the victims, Warner Brothers and Rentrac, the company that officially reports box office numbers, both decided not to release the box office results for The Dark Knight Rises throughout the weekend. But in today's internet world, the numbers are out anyway, and I've decided to report on them, as well as theater safety. So let's take a look at how The Dark Knight Rises fared financially. Initial reports are that the film opened with $161.8 million, slightly above the opening for The Dark Knight, and the best 2D opening of all time. However, it's a number much lower than the 180 to 210 being floated around Thursday night, as those midnight screenings as well as advanced ticket sales got off to such a strong start. It is impossible to know for sure, but it seems the shooting did keep some people away from the movie. In fact, I'd say it's safe to say that if it wasn't for the shooting, and if The Dark Knight Rises had been released in 3D, it would have certainly topped the Avengers' $207 million opening, where $35 million of that debut came from the 3D ticket surcharge. That proves that despite the creative reasons not to release a movie in 3D, it just doesn't make sense from a business perspective. Man of Steel really needs to be in 3D. As for a potential Batman reboot, let's hope Warner Brothers has more success than Sony with Spider-Man. Despite pleasing many fans, mainstream audiences weren't interested in taking another swing through Spidey's origin story, as the reboot is lagging far behind the original trilogy, even Spider-Man 3. And don't forget that the Amazing Spider-Man box office factors in not only increased ticket prices, but also a 3D surcharge, while none of Raimi's films were in 3D. As for the rest of the box office, it looks like the Ice Age franchise is finally facing extinction, and once again foreign box office saves another stateside dud. Meanwhile, Ted continues to impress, just passing There's Something About Mary as the 4th biggest grossing R-rated comedy of all time. And while Brave is not an embarrassment, it's not exactly a bullseye for Disney and Pixar either. As for Channing Tatum, he now has 3 picks in a row that have crossed the century mark, while Wes Anderson is enjoying his first mainstream success since 1998's The Royal Tenenbaums. But Savages and Medea's Witness Protection are nothing but bad news for Oliver Stone and Tyler Perry. Besides not reporting The Dark Knight Rises box office, Warner Brothers also canceled the film's Paris premiere, as well as all media interviews in France. The film's Tokyo and Mexico City premieres have also been canceled, and as TV stations across the country reported on the shooting, the stations also pulled on-air ads for the movie. Warner Brothers had to pull the trailer for Gangster Squad, which features a scene where a movie theater is riddled with bullets, and the scene could even be cut from the movie. And while pundits are beginning to ask if perhaps the Batman trilogy or movies in general inspire violence, this morning Germany has already put forward legislation to keep children under 12 from seeing violent movies. The truth is, we'll never know for sure the exact mix of what caused this horrific act, or what, if anything, could have been done differently to avoid it. But we can take action to make ourselves safer at the movies before another copycat crime takes place a week, a month, or a year from now. To those who say this was just a one-time event, remember that The Dark Knight Rises box office has already suffered, showing how vulnerable yet another pillar of the U.S. economy like air travel is to violence. Just one more push could be enough to bring the whole thing down, which makes a copycat crime all the more tempting to depraved individuals and groups. Already over the weekend, movie theaters across the country had police watching guard outside and themselves instilled strict rules on moviegoers, such as no masks or fake weapons. And it was reported that after 9/11, movie theaters had considered banning backpacks, but ultimately decided not to, largely because of their popularity in New York City, where movies do a large percentage of their business. But such a ban might need to be revisited, and it might also be a good idea for movie theaters to install metal detectors like they do in India. But no masks, backpack bans, or a metal detector would have stopped the shooter in Aurora as he used the emergency exit. So I urge you to go to your local theater and tell the manager that when an emergency exit is opened, an alarm should sound, the lights in the theater should go on so people can see what's happening, and management should be made aware that the door has been opened. We pay a lot of money to go to the movies therefore bring in a lot of money, and just a small fraction of that money could easily secure our safety. Thank you, stay safe, and continue to enjoy going to the movies.